is the DEX Signals and Trader Pro webinar for the week of 3/19 to 3/24. Somewhere in this week, the first day of spring is going to rise. Everybody will get that cabin fever. So, congratulations. You made it through another hard winter. It's been a very tough beginning of the year, but still very prosperous of course, with DEX and the increasing amount of members that we have, the tremendous amount of opportunity. Got to tell you that what's coming and what we're preparing for. And in today's video, it's not really an impromptu. If you're in the room, it might seem like that. If you're watching, I really didn't want to set too much up today with the webinar because there's a lot of work to do, but it comes from, there's physical work to do in your lives. And you all know that. There's stuff that you have to do. There's some of you that have seen your choose, you have the leads by your name. You're in the room. Okay. You guys are here for a reason. So, I know that the webinars have been a little bit sporadic, a little bit all over the place the last couple of weeks, but there's a tremendous amount of stuff that we before we get started, I am going to show you numbers today. So you will see certain things of certain people doing certain things. So, of course, if you're watching this after the fact, you know the drill. This stuff's for educational trade assistants only, and all results may vary. I swear to God, I am never, ever, ever going to read the entire thing here. And I'm going to not do it because I'm in defiance. I love you, lawyers, but you're there for a reason. If you want it read, come to the studio, sit down in the chair, and read it yourself. All right? But I'll opt for the educational trade assistants only, and all results may vary. Come on, this is common sense stuff here. So this week, what are we going to really look forward to here? There is so much happening, and I mean so much. Some of you had a chance to look at the effects video, and thank you, Paul. I appreciate that. That we have begun to start to think in the mentality that as a group, if you will, of traders, not just a singularity of, oh, Max is trading and he's teaching people how to trade like Max. I'm not teaching you how to trade like me. You have to understand that. Nobody trades like me. Not me. Nobody trades like you. It's you. Even down to the microsecond. Okay? So there's no perfect one-way-fits-all kind of solution. Now, that's the bad news, I guess. The good news is that you have an opportunity to work with other people that are like-minded and similar in your trading style. And we can begin to compile that data that is given by all of you, by most of you, and be able to start to find that pathway onto our success. Now, when you have a company, because usually most companies, they say, here's a signal, go out and do what we say, and you are all out here, right? In our case, it's not like that at all. In our case, the signals happen internally. You, the trader, see them internally. You go into the chat room, you talk about them internally. You share your results internally. Right? Sorry. So the process becomes more about how can we fit more people into this? And remember, you don't know it, but the business is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay? Depending on what side of the system that you're on, whether you're indicators or signals or what have you. And we do get a lot of people like, what's the difference between all the different sites? Don't worry, we're going to take care of you. That's why one of the things have happening this week. So a lot of education stuff's coming in the form of webinars, right? Some advanced training that's going to come out that you're only going to be able to get if you're elite or senior. Okay, I'm going to try to start classifying some of you guys and getting you into certain rooms and groups of people. So I know sometimes it's a little bit difficult for some of you that are at the higher levels that have been here a while. You get a new person who comes in and they're of a different mentality and they're kind of smacking you in the head a little bit like, well, this doesn't work for me, or something's happening, or where's this, or how come I can't do this? You know, you don't need that kind of stress. And that's why some people, you have to realize, we have a lot of members. Do you understand that? We have a lot of members that just come to Dex, just get the signals. That's it. They're just here for the signals. They're not here to make friends. They're not here to, be your pal. They're not here to wonder how many kids you have or how many cats or how many dogs you got. They don't care. They just want to come in, get the signal, and make their money. And that's okay, right? Because this kind of mentality is not really for everybody. But there are some that are like in the room that have made partner, that have worked very hard to be here, that want more, they do more, they get more kind of stuff. They're part of the company. They show up every day and they do their thing. So with those people, we begins to build this internal system that we begin to share. Now, inside this system, there's all a bunch of things, right? There's indicators, there's signals, there's different broker systems now. There's, the exchange of Nadex. We're going to be wandering in with one of our other systems for Forex directly. And this is a slippery slope here, guys. This has a lot of regulation to it, has a lot of risk to it. There's a lot of stuff that happens there. But the mentality here for you guys at Dex Signals, Dex Trader is simple. Is to find a solution that works for you and survive the drawdown. Along the way, you want to learn, you want to train, you want to build, you want to create relationship. And that's going to happen for you because you're going to apply a lot of these things. You're going to see inside the chat room. You're going to make relations. You're going to find other people that you work well with. You may form little mini communication networks with some other people within this network. But you're going to find that the majority of you will be in that chat room. The majority of you will be in a place where you'll see your results. You'll share your results. You'll learn from each other as you go. So, this world is really about information. And the information that we provide on a daily basis comes from many different sources. I got tired of trying to decipher all the different sources and where they all came from, and how can I share this with everybody and get it to a process? And it was difficult because Dex Trader has its own mentality, Dex Signals has its own mentality, Dex Indicators has its own mentality, and for me to go write an article and post it for Dex Effects and then make another article and post it for Dex Signals and all that stuff was becoming incredibly time-consuming, let's say. So I began to hunt. I began to hunt for articles and market analysis and other things that are out there in the world already, that are already pre-existing by people that are very talented, and broadening my horizons and scope of what needs to be done to be able to provide more information for you. And that's what we've started to do. We've built these relationships with these companies. We've built the relationships with the software that will deliver this information via Dex Effects. Now, Dex Effects, Dex Effects will deliver the news to the other surrounding systems. So Dex Signals, Dex Trader, and Dex Indicators. Okay, these will be all kinds of things, like different market analysis for the week. This will be just standard news. It's worth reading to know about the market, so you can begin to see the fundamental movements of the market and how they affect your time frames. Okay, the biggest one is that if you're in a 2-hour trade or a daily trade, and you see that a market analysis is calling for a major move down, and you're in an up trade, or a signal comes out in an opposite direction, and you see a market analysis that may stipulate this, and it's calling for like a huge market push out, there's a large amount of news. You see, news is not always just related to a Forex pair being released. There may be news on oil, which will affect the Aussie, which will affect the Euro, which will affect all of them, basically. Even the CAD. There might be relationship issues. There might be Trumpisms, if you want, Trump Twitters, whatever they are, okay? Again, it's not a political statement. This is a neutral statement that no matter if he speaks good or bad of the market always seems to move it one direction or another. A lot of speculation behind the man's tweets, all right, even in some of his policy. But the point being is that the news delivery process you're going to see is going to come from DexFX. And I did this for a reason, because it itself is going to become a network of traders and people that are going to be using a service that we're going to provide, not so much a signal network. It sort of is like an entry network. Okay, there's going to be an email system that people will get on when to enter the market that's going to supply a stop loss. Very important detail. Never trade any market without a stop loss unless you're trading Nadex or something, which it's all that stuff sort of built in with its loss factors. And to take profit. So you get a pair, you get all that stuff. But that's coming. It's coming in the weeks, and this week we're building it. I've tested it out for the last couple of weeks, and the patterns and the processes. There's two forms of this system. There is a what we call the setup, right, where we tell everybody, hey, look, this setup just happened. It's called a double top or a double bottom or whatever it is at that point. And we deliver that information, and you go and you trade it at your own risk, at your own values. And then there's another where we give you more detailed information. So it's going to be a very powerful network. This is going to drive thousands of people to that system. Now, why is that important to all you folks? Because the more people we have come in for any one of our systems, the better our program gets. Have you noticed that? Have you noticed that as a company, one, we listen to you, right? We listen to your questions, we listen to your responses, and then we take action. See, we're very prominent on taking action. Listening to our customers. Now, of course, we're not going to do knee-jerk stuff. One person's going to come and say, I don't like the color blue. We're changing it to red. We don't do that. But if we get enough people saying they don't like the color blue, or something happens, or we're not going to change our brand, of course, but if something's interfering with your trading style or your ability to learn, we'll work on that. And that's what's happened over the last couple of weeks with the concept of Trader's Mind. It too is going to become its own solution. Now, of course, you guys, nothing's going to ever change for you guys at DEX to have availability for it, DEX Trader, DEX Signals. You're always going to have access to the Trader's Mind series, whether it be revamped or what, okay, because there'll be a version of it on board the DEX Signal system and DEX Trader system. Not so much in the DEX Trader system, but you can go to DEX Signals and get it for free anyway if you're a DEX Trader customer. Now, in this system, this is going to be more of a webinar series where you go and you can join it. And once a week, you're going to get a request to go and watch one of the videos and test out for that week and test out in that process. And this is going to always be reoccurring. So you can always go at different times during the week and see the mindsets that are happening at your particular time of week, right? So if you've accomplished a particular part of that system, it's going to ask you to go to the next webinar. Pretty powerful, right? So that's pretty cool. That's going to become its own little mini system within our network, which is going to drive a lot of people to the mentality of trading and how to learn how to trade quickly, right? So pretty powerful. With that said, you're going to see a lot more webinars that are going to be coming up as far as what we call evergreen webinars. These are webinars that we pre-record and do, or we do live and then put out there as as a product for people to come and see and hear and feel about, because sometimes they miss them. They don't want to sit on a playlist. They want to join in, go in. They want to see interactivity. They want to see other people in there talking. They want to chat with other people. That's fine. There's a ton of them. There's going to be, I think, almost 6 of them that Mike and I are building together, and that's today and tomorrow. There's a tremendous amount of them. There's even going to be the revamping of the one that we did a little while ago, a video of what kind of trader are you? We're going to turn that into a particular series, a push button series, to where you're going to go in and be able to watch a little bit about each company, and then at the end make a decision where you want to go. And that's pretty important for all of our customers that are, or future customers that are making decisions. Oh, okay, that's why I would go to Dex Signals. So if you have anybody who is asking you, hey, which is the best system? Send them that webinar. They'll explain everything. A very powerful solution for our company. Because we get a lot of people who come on board and maybe they got into the wrong part of the network, or there's a lot of movement there. So we want to inform people as much as possible. Okay. The SR Max reversal testing. This is pretty powerful. That's why I left it to last. I want you to kind of think about everything that we have done. We have watched data, right? We've watched consumers, traders, investors, whatever level you think you are, and we watched you trade the different things that we have. Dailies have been the most consistent with their trading because people get into them. And I have, those people I told you about that just kind of come and they trade and they never really say anything. A very large amount of them trade the dailies. So that mentality is sort of, it's like me, I think that if I found a system that worked like the dailies do out there in the world, and I wasn't doing DEX and I wasn't running the signal system and I wasn't building all this stuff, I would just be a daily trader. I tell you, I would set and forget that process and live with the drawdown and do everything I had to do. I would get into as many sessions as I could with as many as I would be neurotic. It would be crazy. But the point is that I wouldn't bother with anybody else. If I was trading and I was that type of mentality where I didn't do all this other stuff, I would be that mentality of put me in a room, let me trade for 4 or 5 hours over a period of a day, make my money for a week. That way I can be relaxed, take a day off here, take a week off here, what have you, and do my thing. Or trade just a couple of times a day. Just let me do my thing. And that's the cool part, is that most of those people are the dailies. The next part of the people that kind of come on and just kind of sink their mind right into it are the SR Max people. Intraday people are a little bit back and forth, but SR Max people they're kind of in it. They like to have a little bit of activity with the process, right? Because you're in there every 15 minutes looking at those charts that are on site. You got your DEX MACD up, you're looking for that crossover. Okay. And that's the wonderful part about it, is that when the SR Max comes out, you have an opportunity to get into a pretty good trade. You're going to be looking for a 30-70 profit margin, right? So your $30 profit margin, that's what you're kind of looking for. Could you do more? Absolutely, you could do more. But again, there's risk to that. The higher you go in profit margin, the closer it has to get to that turnaround point for it to pick up the trade. Okay, so keep that in mind. Sometimes you can get straight into the trade. Okay, right into the entry, right into that statement. Sometimes you got to put a working order on. That's what most of us do. We put the working orders on the SR Maxes. So, and then what happens? Once you put the time frame on, you got the right thing going on, right? The market starts going. Let's say we have a sell going on, right? Okay, and something like this happens, right? So market goes up, market goes down, what have you. And down on the DEX MACD, or just the MACD that we have on the site for DEX Trader or even DEX Signals, you got both lines. I wish I could do 2 different colored lines, right? But then all of a sudden you get this crossover that happens, right? Within that first hour and a half, you get that crossover that happens, right? You're looking for that little triangle that's right there, and the crossover, right? And so it goes up, comes down like this, and your stop, your statement's right here, right? You put a working order on. Maybe it's even gotten filled at that position. But then all of a sudden you get a crossover, right? Now normally you hit out and you get out for like a minus $25 kick, right? You're like, yay, I got out and I saved a bunch of money on my car insurance because I waited 15 minutes, right? Every 15 minutes. But here's the thing. You get out for this minus 25 and you're loving life because you just didn't lose 80 bucks or 70 bucks. You just saved, $45. That's awesome. Why? Because if you win the next trade, right, you just won 30 bucks, you're up 5 bucks minus fees. So you're up really about $1.50, right? And that's the cool part, is that even if you bail out and you're minus 25, you win the one more after that, you're back in the money again. But let me show you something. We found out there's a very high rate of success. In fact, I've even nailed it down now to 95.3% of the time, okay? 95.3% of the time that when you get across, once the signal has been fired in a direction, okay, this is not with all crossover, folks. Okay, this is only with a crossover that happens with the SR Max in a direction, and within the first hour, we've noticed, if there is a crossover in the opposite direction, immediately put a counter trade in, immediately, from the position that you were out. No matter if it's ATM, OTM, or ITM. These are where you want them to really be at. Okay, and even this one has, relative, you want to be about $30 on an ITM. Here you'll be about $35 to $45. And here you're going to be 50 plus. Kind of crazy, right? Because you have a 90% chance plus, so 95.3% chance of winning this trade if it's done correctly. Right? So a little trick here is that if you have a buy on, right, you got one contract, when you go to do the reverse, normally to get out of this trade, you do a sell, right, and you do one contract, right? So you would see a sell pop up and you do one contract, and then it closes it out because it's in the opposite direction, right? Because you're at 0.0900 here, right? And then so you would do a sell at 0.900 here because you have a buy, right? Because it kind of looks like this. You've done, because up here and it's going to come down, so now you're looking to sell, right? So you got to get it out of it. You save your ass, right? But in all likely, if you wanted to do a reverse of this, what would you do? Well, when you click on your buy to get out, instead of doing one contract, you do two. And immediately it'll change that contract that you have up there or that statement from a buy to a sell, right? With one contract on, right? So it'll look like that. So you no longer will have one buy on because the one sell cancels out the buy and then puts on one in the opposite direction immediately. Pretty cool, right? Because it takes a little practice to get into. It takes a little understanding of the market enough to kind of go with that, right? Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind as you're going to test this theory out. We're going to put out all the rules. I have Brad Beckham testing right now, and I have a few other people working with this mentality. If you want to work with this, that's great. It's a very simple strategy. There's not a lot of rules to it. First hour, crossover, opposite direction, put in immediately counter trade in the opposite direction from that signal. Now, why does this work out? Because then it's all math, folks. It's all math from this point. If I do say 10 trades, right, and even 6 of them are winners, that means 4 of them are going to be losses, right? So that's about a 60% success rate. overall for the system, right? We're talking for the system now. We're not saying that this is what it is. I'm just showing you for this for an example. And if all 6 of these win, right, because we're doing $30, that's $180, right, on the win side. But if they lose, you see what I'm saying? If they lose, that's not a profitable number if you took all 6 of these trades, all 4 of these trades. But if you got out, if you just did the straight, get out when they're doing it, and you're losing 25, then you're $100 in the minus, and then you got plus $80 left over. This is if you just traded the SR Max right off the box, right? But now watch what happens. Let's just say that you're able to do 75% of them. You're able to get an OTM trade or an ATM trade on. We'll try to hit it right in the middle. Okay. So we'll say now you lose 1 trade, so you're minus 25. You won your 6. Okay. And you got 3 that you do an ATM trade on. So you got 1 that you lost. Okay. So you lost your 25. And then you got 3 that you do an ATM trade on. Now, how the ATM trade stuff works out, right, is that if you got a minus 25, you do a reverse, because remember, you're actually losing this trade. You're doing reverse. But your next trade is, say, $45, right, and you win that, okay, and you win that. So then what do you got left over? You got $20 left over, right, per contract. So what does that look like? That looks like $60 here, right? About. Of course, there's all these different variables. This could be 24, it's 25. Sometimes the bar can go straight up. Sometimes you can get in lower. You can get out lower. Sometimes you're going to get an OTM trade, which is going to be like 60, $70, and it's going to close out. And what a wonderful day that is, because I've done it several times. It's beautiful. And once I show you, I won't be doing it today, but in the training and in the process for this reversal trade, I will show you. But this is the norm, right? This is the average. It's not speculation. This is actual. There are times that you can think of what it could be, but what it turns out to be is something completely different. But in our world, the data is king. So how does this number work out? 240. So you get 240, right? Minus your $25 loss. It's $215 for your 10 SR Max trades. See that? Now you have a positive ROI happening on that solution. Now, this takes some work, right? Because you're watching every 15 minutes. Happens in a 1 hour process, right? You're looking for the crossover within that 1 hour. Right? Why didn't I say why didn't I say the whole entire time, down to the last 15 minutes to do crossover? Because it's less likely at those points. And if it happens within that hour, even if it happens within the first 15 minutes, you still got to pay attention to it very closely, because there's even a chance that it could cross over and then continue to go up. So you could have a crossover in the opposite direction and do one of these numbers, right? And it all writes itself again. So we might even be able to give you a time that, say, after the first half, so between the hour and, so if it's a 2 hour trade, here's 0, here's 1 hour, here's 2 hour, right? It might happen right here to here, pay attention if it does do an OTM or ATM trade from that position. So these are things that you're going to have to find, right? I'm telling you within the first hour, if it does it, you have a very high rate of success. It might even be higher if we did what I just showed you. Okay, does that make sense to a lot of you? I hope so. If you're trading the SR Maxes, it's pretty important. It's a big, powerful model. And you can easily go and check this out yourself by going to the site, going to the pairs that have won and lost, look at the crossovers, seeing what the highs and lows were for that time period. Would it have won if it would have kept on going? What number would I have gotten in at? It's very easy to go figure out. Was this OTM or ATM? Could have been an OTM possibility. If it was outside the money when it flipped around, those are the best ones because you're getting them for like $60, $75. There's one I even got for $80 in the opposite direction because it happened in the very beginning. It just had a big candle, but yet it righted itself. A little worried about it at first, but getting that condition on an OTM, you're risking $20 to make 80. You got to be loving life, right? Because the world has flipped around on you on an ITM trade. You only have to be 20% correct to make that work, right? I even was talking to the one fellow that was training how to do it, and he said, you know what? I could probably just wait for the signal to come out. Don't get into the original 6. Don't get into the wins that take it on. It's a lot of work. But wait for the crossover. I have a 95.3% chance of winning that crossover. Right? Because each system has its own natural losses. The SR Max has a very high rate of success without a crossover. So if it has a crossover, there's a very low chance of it losing with no crossover. Very low chance. It does happen. And I'm working on finding out what that is during that time. Okay, because we're writing code into the system now to track that part of it. So one part we weren't able to physically track or automatically track. So we're doing that. All right. Normally I would say final thoughts here. The reason I changed to max thoughts is because nothing's ever final, right? Maybe final for the webinar, but it's sort of too grim for me. I wanted to give you my thoughts about what is to come over the next couple of weeks and months for all of you, okay? If some of you have been here for a while and you're sort of sitting back on your haunches and you're kind of like, okay, I got a rhythm. Now it's time to work even harder. If you have a rhythm to the process, if you have an understanding that you're doing well, where you're just mediocrely finding your hole, and this feels comfortable, and this is where you want to be, then you're going to be the master of your own destiny and accept all the results, on good or the bad. But I'm telling you right now, if you're here to make this a business for yourself, right? Mediocrity is death to you. Because we have this tendency as human beings to not pay attention to our declining, our decline. Have you ever noticed that? Oh, this is good. I sit in the chair a little longer today, watch a little bit more TV. I mean, I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself. What I'm saying is if you play hard, but work harder. Play hard, but work harder. God, that's going on a t-shirt. Play harder, or what is it? Play hard, but work harder, right? One of my favorite talkers here just recently, and I guess gurus, if you want to call it, Gary Vaynerchuk. And the guy's a big proponent of always just kill it. Whatever you feel will work, do it. You know how they say when you're sick, whatever you feel like eating, eat, right? Time to go to work. Now's the time to start working harder because if you're a business, you have to start preparing for those lean months. Sometimes that's in this time period, right? Things start getting a little shaky with the market. People are pulling back because tax times are here. Then tax comes out, people have their money, the market comes fluid again, and it just pushes on, goes crazy again. There is so many advantages, disadvantages to every month of the year that you have to prepare yourself because you'll never know when a lean month is coming. I can't say, well, October 3rd is going to be lean until December 18th. You have to prepare. You have to fill your bucket every single day as much as you possibly can and set your goals appropriately. Set your goals higher. Shoot 6 inches past the cup because you, my friend, if you fall short in a month and you can't pay your bills, you're going to scatter. You're going to run. The moment it doesn't become profitable for you or becomes too hard, you're going to run. Why do I know that you're going to do that? It's because it's what I would do. It's the whole flight or fight kind of mentality. If it becomes hard, if it becomes too encumbersome into your life, if it gets in your way, if it starts hurting you, you're going to pull back and you're going to rethink it, and that's human nature. I get that. But shake that shit off and get back into the game and start making it work. You can doubt yourself. You can question the process. You can question, your intent and your discipline, but only for a short period of time. Shake your head, kick your legs, go for a run, get your head back in, do a Rubik's Cube, do a puzzle, do a Sudoku, whatever it is. Get your mind back in the game, okay? Because the time now, right now, is when you start working really hard. The moment you go, all right, I got this. This is cool. All right, let me take a little break. Nuh-uh. Get your ass into gear and start building your business. Those that fail, I was talking to a rep the other day, and I put this in my FX video, which I did on Dex Indicators, and I'll share it out with everybody else. But I did this, if somebody has it, they could put the link into the chat room there. But I was talking to this rep, and I won't name the company, but he goes, within the first 4 months of a new trader's account, they fail. Right? The whole account's gone. In the first 4 months. 4 months. These are people that either maybe got in on a whim or maybe they were thinking about it. And it's not those accounts that are like $250. This was a company that required a $5,000 deposit to even join their company. First 4 months, right? I think it was like 87% of those people within the first 4 months. You ready for this thing, part of it? Out of that 87%, he said, 54% of them fail within their first month. Okay? 54% of these people fail within their first month. That's disgusting. 1 month, 5K. Right? 1 month, blew 5K. Because they didn't have the mentality. He says the biggest thing that he sees is that nobody has a risk management plan. They don't set goals. Right? This is a recipe for disaster. You don't have risk management, you don't have money management, you don't have the discipline, if you don't have the things that it takes to set these things, then you're going to fail. And this is what I say to you all, is find your goals. If your goal is to make a certain amount of money, whatever you immediately thought, times that by 2 and set your plan into action. Right? And for most of you, in order to reach that goal, you can't set some pansy ass, I only want to work 7 minutes a day and I want to make $30,000 a month. There's no such system out there. There's no such program. And if you're here at Dex Signals or Dex Trader thinking that you got that, you are in the wrong damn place. I'm going to tell you that right now. My dog even knows, and she fell asleep. There is no opportunity for you here to make $30,000 a month working 7 minutes a day, pushing a button. There's no such thing. Max, I only want to work a couple of hours a day, and I don't really have a lot of time. But I only have $200 to put into the market, and I need to make $7,000 a month. Unrealistic goals. Then work your ass to get that to $1,000. Plan your risk management. Follow the lessons. Listen to the webinars. Because there's a lot of pain about to come to you. Because you have to train your ass off to get to those goals. You understand me? You have to train your ass off to get to those goals. And I'm not talking, well, I need to learn what how to trade the NFP because that seems like to be the most movement of the market. No. You have to train your ass in little micro sessions and teach your mentality how to survive the drawdown. Right? This is what you have to be able to do, survive that drawdown. Teach yourself how to train. This is the most important part. Teach yourself how to train. Because if you cannot train in this process, you will fail. No matter what other system you have out there. If you can't train yourself on the discipline, on the money management, on the entry, on the how to beat back the overly greedy monster, if you can't train yourself on how to beat that back and how to become rigid and strong, you're going to be that statistic. You're going to be that 54% of that 87% of people who failed in the first month. You're going to be that person. No matter where you go. Whether it's in 8X or it's in 4X or wherever it is. Now, under this concept, there's a lot more to come. We're going to be dealing with a lot more of the mentality side of it. I'm going to be doing a lot of special webinars that are going to speak directly towards this. I'm not a big proponent on setting these like destination places to go to. I want you to come with me to Hawaii so you can hear me talk about how great everything is here in Hawaii because I got all you guys to pay $5,000 a ticket. I'm not up for that stuff. I want you to pay your money, you pay your dues, and I'm going to give you as much as I possibly can along the way. As much as I possibly can. Everything I learn, you'll learn. Everything I see or get the data from, you'll get. Okay? All right. For everybody that's watching this after the fact, thank you very much for getting to this part of the video. This is a testament to your discipline. If you're watching this, I got to thank you personally that you're here. You supported us through the entire process. Great. Congratulations. Thank you again. And as always, trade well. If you're in the room, stick around for questions and answers, and I got to get going because I have a couple of consults and a bunch of meetings today and a whole bunch of stuff to make with Mike Ficca, who is patiently waiting for me to do so. All right. Thanks again. Talk to you soon. I'm Max, and this is Dex.